Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. It is Thursday. I finally got the day right. It is Thursday. We are in Europe, which is a first for us. We have the world's worst jetway. I have to show you guys this before we do anything. The sim has this as a parking spot. But how could that jetway possibly reach? Like, I'll hit the button again. It's just not going to make it. And if I tell it to go back, it up, and it gets stuck. So passengers, if you're trying to get on board, you gotta jump that distance there. But anyway, we are going to go ahead and get started. Hello to Nell Twitch. Thank you for dropping in. Happy to have you on board. We're in Europe, so we need to switch our altimeter to hectopascals, which as of the latest METAR, we're in Tenerife, by the way, Tenerife North. There's two big airports on the island. We are at Tenerife North. The latest METAR, almost an hour ago, but we're still going to use it. The altimeter was 1025. And we'll reference that. There. We won't have air traffic control tonight. There's nobody controlling the area. Our route... I always forget about this internet problem. Give me 1 second. OBS, for some reason, just does not like my internet browser. There we go. So this will be our flight plan today. The BIMB 6 kilo departure radar vector is Bimbo Q142 to Big P, direct Nidal, and the Nidal 1C arrival into Madeira. We have a very interesting approach today. There's a reason why this is on the challenging approach list. And you all are going to see why that is the case here shortly. I just want to make sure we have the right departure. The Bimbo 1 kilo. We're going to be departing on runway 30, which means ESPN. Jeez, a lot of things happening right now. Don't tell me anything about the Flyers game. I don't want to know. I'm going to watch it later. We can get started down in the FMC. All this information is accurate. There's a new AIRAC cycle today, which is good. Initialization, we are at Golf Charlie X-Ray Oscar. We're heading to Lima Papa Mike Alpha. And our alternate is to return back here. So, Golf Charlie X-Ray Oscar. My throat has been a little runny. Like I think allergy season's starting early for some reason. I haven't been outside at all, so it can't be COVID related, but yeah, I don't know. Just felt like saying that. Cost index will roll at 24, and our calculated cruising altitude is flight level 180. Pretty low. We're not really going that far. It's only 230 nautical miles. The flight plan will be departing runway 30 on the BIMB 5 Juliet departure. I don't believe we're going to have any available transitions to Bimbo. Yep. And then from Bimbo, we are on an airway. We pick up Q142 to Big P, Big Pie, enter, and then we are direct Nidal And then the arrival today, given the winds, we will be doing check to see which one this is. That's the visual. We just want to make sure that we get the correct RNAV. That's circling VOR, circling VOR. RNP, runway 23. RNP Yankee number 5. We don't want that. What we do want is the RNAV Zulu runway 5. On the, I believe, what was the name of the arrival? The Nidal. Nidal 1 Charlie. Do we want the VIA MA 532? No, we don't need that. None. Insert. Alright, and our route is in. Good, good, my friends. Everything is in the way it needs to be. We don't have a climb restriction on this departure, so we can just put in 18,000. Transition altitude in Europe, I believe, is 10,000 feet, which is something different that we'll have to take note of. Performance page, thank you. Be using flaps 1. We're relatively light this afternoon. I just wanted to make sure that we would be in the best position to land in one shot, and then we can, of course, get going here shortly. We need to back up with our nose towards the right and get this terrible jetway out of here. Everything looking good up top. Let everybody know we're going to start moving here shortly. Get external power disconnected and off. And then we can start getting going. How is the tug pushing me when it's not attached to the airplane? That's what I want to know. Go ahead and get engine number 2 started now that we're a sufficient distance from the terminal area. We're accompanied by JetBlue and I believe Frontier and an E550 Phenom. Love, 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 love to see it. Getting towards our pushback point. Did you say what time it is at the airport? The time right now is not correct. I made it daytime. The weather is real and current, but I made the time of day to reflect what a real life approach would be. This approach is only done visually, so there is no ILS or anything like that for the RMP-5 at Madeira. Get the flight director on. Finish the pushback here. We'll get the second engine on, engine number 1. pretty good pushback. Get the parking brake set on. Auto brakes max, if it'll let me. It's a weird thing where you have to have the camera at the right angle in order to, there we go. Auto brakes max is on. Get that. Well, shortly we'll get the APU bleed off. Everything up top is looking good. Gonna get the ground spoilers set for takeoff. TCAS goes to TA. Good start on both engines. Engine mode selector goes to normal. APU bleed and master off. Nose light set to taxi. Flaps 1. Make sure I get my socks off. I can't accurately steer these rudders without my socks off. So get that tug out of here. See you, tug. Alright, good start on both engines. Everything is looking good. We got our flight controls checked out. Everything's looking good. Disconnect that parking brake and get heading up to Madeira. TO config as well. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everyone is well. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. I'm going to be posting a poll during our cruising segment here, just to get some feedback from you guys as to what we should do at the conclusion of this mini series. Glad to hear you're doing well, Tunel Twitch. And get a schedule put together for next week, get some more content out. I appreciate you guys coming in and watching. First 20 followers to the channel will be automatically enrolled in a 1-year subscription when we affiliate for free, no cost at all. Just make sure you're one of those first 20. You don't want to miss out on that opportunity. Make sure you check out our About page as well. There's a link to our donation site. Donations are never ever required, but they are certainly appreciated. There's also a live map showing our actual location, not in aviation terms, but like on a map. So anybody who wants to see what we're actually doing without hearing aviation ramblings can check out our live map on our About page. And also on the About page is the live Twitter feed. Unfortunately, that doesn't contain the polls. So for polls, make sure you follow us on our Twitter. We're getting ready to get to the end of the runway here. We can go runway turn-off lights on. Flight attendants are ready to go. The ECAM is green. The FMA is blue because we are not set up yet on the runway. Once we initiate our toga here, we will get set up the way we need to. We can get our landing lights on and our nose light set to take off. How long is the runway? Short. I don't know exact numbers, but it is not the world's longest runway. We're very light. The runway at Madeira is actually kind of short as well, but we'll be fine. Actually, I think the runway at Tenerife is plenty long. PHLMDB1, thanks for joining us. It is looking good. Man, toga, SRS, and runway. FMA is green. Airspeed alive, we've hit 80 knots. 100 knots. 120 knots. We're getting ready to rotate. Here comes the rotate. Just want to hold the nose off the ground till the airplane takes off. There you go. Positive rate. I had plenty of runway left. Gears coming up. Going to begin that right turn now to the Tenerife VOR. And we are also going to climb thrust. Climb thrust is set. Speed check flaps can come up. Autopilot's going on. Whoa. The ground spoilers can be disengaged at this point, as can the runway turnoff and wheel well lights. Looking good on our climb. We are direct Tenerife. Get the flight director off. To begin our 90 degree turn to the northeast. That will get us on track to Madeira. Rock, you can't be barking at me yet. We haven't landed. It's nice terrain out here. Just coming back. We're about to hit 10,000 feet, which two things will happen. At 10,000 feet, we'll get the landing lights up, but we're also going to set our barometric pressure to standard. As in the EU, it's common practice, or it's actually common policy, that 10,000 feet is transition altitude. And now we head up for our cruise. In a moment, I'm going to get the Twitter poll fired up, so you guys can see our route this evening. They're on the navigation display. What is happening? I'm going to post a poll on Twitter here momentarily. Rocky has entered the cockpit. Twitter poll just went live. Make sure you guys go and vote on the Twitter poll. We've got 3,000 more feet to go before we're at cruise. Short flight today. Get our turbulence monitor up. Looks like we'll be able to get the seatbelt sign off for well, it's not actually that extended period of time. When we get to the, I want to make sure I pull up the correct chart. The arrivals, that's the Gazga, the Album, Tabum, Santo, Oris. That's departures, so we must have passed it. Is that also a departure? Oh, that's a departure as well. These are the RNP plates. I don't want RNP. I want the... Hold on a second. What is the name of it? It's Naidu 1C. Madeira, this is right. Excuse me, these are departures, 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 RNP plates. These are all just RNP plates. Okay, so we don't have any stars. Great. So if we look, we get a little preview as what's going to happen when we get close. When we get close to the field... Whoa, rock! Yes, I can't help you right now. We are going to take... the path that you guys are seeing. I'm just looking for altitude restrictions. And they do exist. Okay. So we will have altitude restrictions as we get closer. We're still a significant distance from the field. We can get the seatbelt sign off here. Let people wander around. The weather, let's check on the weather. Rock! Well, there were... oh, I clicked on the wrong airport somehow. Rock. There we go. Madeira. Okay. As of 8 minutes ago, winds were calm. That's rare. The winds are usually what make this approach challenging. So we'll see if those winds actually remain calm. The altimeter was 1024, so 1 hectopascal less than what we departed with. Going to stay at 18,000 feet here for a while. It is our cruising altitude, although the flight is not actually that long. We will most likely descend... Okay, so we need to hit Bimbo at 10,000. So Bimbo is at 1437. Oh. Um, 1437 is in 21 minutes almost. So by the time we get to Casas, I almost read it as Kansas. By the time we get to Kansas, by the time we get to KSAS, we will begin our preparations for descent, although I don't think... No, we're going to get there at 22, so probably about 5 minutes past KSAS, we'll start descending. Rock, we have not landed yet, so you can't be barking at me that I did a bad job. Yes, I know. I think he's letting out his emotions about the Toncontin landing now. Because that one wasn't my smoothest, but hey, we still walked away from it. Unlike Lukla, if you guys want to see that again, let me know. I could try it again. Just comment what you guys want to see next. We're running out of airports somehow for challenging approaches. There's one more crazy one that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's in Paro, Bhutan. But other than that, I can't really think of anything that's actually like notoriously dangerous. Any ILS, we can do ILS as well. Like now that my autopilot works, we can do it, and IMs or instrument meteorological condition landing, or an IMC approach. We can do that next week as well. And make sure you guys vote on our active Twitter poll as well. Transition altitude at Madeira is 5,000 feet, which is most definitely different. The performance page, 5K, winds are 0 at 0. Decision height is at 460. The temperature at Madeira was 17 degrees Celsius. And the altimeter in QNH, which we don't have. Although I should be able to put it in like this, and it should take it. Yes, it will. Okay, and our programmed approach speed is 128, which is pretty slow. How's the... Aaron KP23, thanks for joining us. How's the hairline? Well, it's still here. So it's doing okay. Thank you, sir, for asking. Aaron has a podcast, the Floater Pod, on, I think, all platforms where you can get a podcast, so make sure to check him out there. I pop on a few episodes as well. You sure if it's still there? I mean, my headset's pulling on my hair. So, yeah. What did I say? The fast break. Yeah, what did I say? What did I say? Of course. I want to know what I called it. Oh, the floater. Oh, that was your old one. Yes, the fast break is what I meant to say. The fast break is his podcast. His current podcast, anyway. That can be found wherever you find your podcasts. We are about 160 miles from the field. Our approach, I don't think we're actually going to be able to see the field until we get close. The island itself has a mountain that's 2,500 feet tall, but as of the latest METAR, the clouds were broken at 1,100, so I don't think that we will, excuse me, actually be able to see the island until we get fairly close. And we are still quite a distance away. Aaron, I asked this question earlier and nobody... How do you spell METAR? You spell METAR or METAR, depending on how you say it, exactly how you just spelled it. And it's an acronym I have to look up exactly what it means for. It's basically a weather report at a given airport or facility or weather station. It has to do with... I know it's like meteorological something. Meteorological Terminal Aviation Routine Weather Report. Or more concisely, Meteorological Aerodrome Report. You can thank the ICAO for that one. They've come up with a wonderful barrage of acronyms that are really bad. But they are what they are. If anybody's from the ICAO listening to me right now, I apologize. IATA did a much better job, in my opinion. But yeah, Aaron, I asked this question earlier. Nobody really responded. Do you guys want to see me do or attempt Lukla again after we go through the rest of these challenges? See if we can actually live and talk about it, or we can also not. That's okay. If you guys don't want to see it, I won't do it again. But I was looking for feedback on that. We're about to hit KSAS, which again I thought was Kansas. Oh yes, please. Only if I get a refund if I die. Oh, okay. Noted. We are 3.5 miles from KSAS. We should start this turn here shortly. Really should be very shortly. There we go. Our altitude reading is not correct. I'm going to restart the I'm going to restart the overlay there. Because usually that fixes itself. That should be better. There we go. 18,000 feet. That is much better. Yeah, I don't know why it was showing us at 2,000 feet. We're most definitely not at 2,000 feet. Alright, so Bimbo, we will be arriving at 1436 Zulu. That is in 12.5 minutes. We need to cross Bimbo at 10,000 feet. Which to me seems a bit far-fetched, considering Bimbo is about 80 miles. KSAS. You tell me. This is how it's spelled. Right here. And given... If there's a crosswind, how will you decide the approach? The winds at Madeira are calm. So the default runway is to do the RMP runway 5 approach. So that's how we are deciding to do that. Okay, it's not him. That's, you know, the wind is dictating what we're going to do here. But if there's a crosswind, we'll have to react. You know, it's about 1 mile from the end of our turn to the runway, so it's a little bit longer than Tegucigalpa. And there isn't a giant hill we have to fly over either with trees. But the runway is about the same length as Tegucigalpa was, so we'll see. But the turn is where, you know, if there's a crosswind, we'll be able to adjust for that. What I was saying was Bimbo appears to be about 60 to 80 miles from the field. So to be at 10,000 feet when you're 60 miles out seems a little early to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the altitude restriction. If it will let me do that. It's not going to let me do that. Okay, we're going to start our descent to aim for the 8,200 foot mark at Madeira. 542 is the name of the waypoint. So we will stay at this altitude for a little while, just because we don't need to be at 10,000 feet for an extended period of time. Well, according to our progress bar, we're almost halfway there. And we are quite slow, actually, which is why I think this is taking so I'm going to increase it is not letting me go to Mach, but I'm going to speed the airplane up. Just to save a little bit of time. I don't know why it had us going so slowly. Yeah, our ground speed was at 350 knots. Slow at around 335. That should do us much better. Yeah, now we're doing about 420 over the ground, which is much better. We're getting a nice little push from behind. It's about what is this? To 2 knot. Sorry, we're getting a 1 knot tailwind, so it's not really doing much for us. But you guys can see what that path looks like. We're actually making 2 circles. So when we come, it's actually 1 circle. But when we come in, we're basically flying close to runway heading now. Runway heading is 050, so it's about that way. And the runway is running like this, almost. So we're going to come up, fly runway heading, make a 180, make another 180, and then land. So it's going to be a lot of right turns once we cross Bimbo. That'll be our last left turn of the day, at least until... Actually, no, even when we're on the ground. Because the turn-off should be to the right if we stop in time. If not, we'll make a U-turn and then a left. But we'll see. We may, we may or may not have any more left turns to make. Yeah, this pace is much better. Granted, it only gave us a minute of time for Bimbo, but between Big P, Nidal, and the start of the Madeira waypoints, that'll save us probably 5 minutes, I would imagine. Which doesn't sound substantial, but when you're at low altitude, it's it becomes, a lot. Turn up the thrust. Okay, so if you see this red bar here, this red bar is what they call overspeed. So if we were to set our thrust to 350 knots or above, we would be overspeed. And we don't want to be overspeed. It puts unnecessary stress on the airplane. So we won't be doing that. That doesn't do anything. So that's why we're staying. Put it at 349. You want to give yourself about 15 knots of headway, just in case you pick up a gust from behind. Actually, no, it would be if you picked up a gust from in front, because then your airspeed would shoot up. Boo. Yeah, I'm sorry. We should, according to the Genius overlay that we have here at top, we should be on the ground at 1447 Zulu, which is in 27 minutes, which isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. We're almost to Bimbo. Here, I'll put it to 340, and if that'll make you happy. Put it to 340 knots and just be ready for a potential gust from in front of us. Seatbelt sign is still off. I don't have a visual on the island. If we look out front here, you're not going... Oh, there. That might be it. That very well could be the island of Madeira. The town is Funchal. The airport is Cristiano Ronaldo Airport. Cristiano. Whatever I said, I'd put the two names together. You're welcome. If you can't tell, I don't watch soccer. Continuing our cruise. Bimbo, what is that, 34 miles, I believe? Yeah, they're 36 miles. still getting pushed from behind slightly. The winds are not substantial today at all. And they are not really anything. Now, normal procedure, there is a procedure that sends you straight in to about here on the approach, but that takes away part of the fun because it takes away half of this turn. So I'm going to go the long way around just for, you know, to do the approach the way it's, you know, the challenging one that everybody's here to see. So that's the reason why it is the way that it is. But we're looking nice. We're probably about 90 to 100 miles from the field. Be crossing Bimbo shortly. It's a very interesting, it's one of the funnier waypoint names I've seen. I will say that. There's a few funny names, like for Rapid City Airport in, what is that, South Dakota? It's KRAP, so the airport's name is Crap. That one's funny. Just hanging out here at 18,000 feet, 22 miles. You guys can see it there perfectly well. I'm going to zoom back out now that it's been there for a while. Not sure why the vertical speed indicator for a while there had us at negative vertical speed, considering that we're even, but I don't know. I don't make the rules. And I'd hope, even if it was like counting above ground level, that water is relatively flat, so it wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be climbing or descending at 10 feet per minute at any given point. So I don't know what it's, or at least, you know, I shouldn't be. The ocean's flat. The ocean doesn't have mountains. So getting ready to cross that waypoint. We may need to slow down a bit at Bimbo because the wind will be shifting more towards our face. So we could be getting gusts. I am going to drop the speed back to 335. Just for our safety through the turn. And that turn should be happening in about a minute and a half. But we are getting close. I think that's the island. It makes sense for that to be the island. If I put terrain on, it should show exactly where it is. Or we may have to wait until we're within 80 miles. Sometimes that happens. Should be happening in the next 20 seconds, I'm going to say. Once we get to, what is the name of that waypoint? Nidal. Once we get to Nidal, we'll start our approach checklist and eventually our descent as well. 5 miles from Bimbo. Should be turning any second. I'll pull, once we roll out of our turn here, I'll pull up, there we go. I'll pull up the arrival plate so you guys can see closer up anyway what's actually going to happen. I believe that's Madeira. Yeah, and that wind is now shifting towards our face. You're not going fast enough. I had to slow down for a second. I didn't want to pick up that headwind. See, now it's 10 knots. If we just picked up a 10 knot gust, that would put us at 345. You know, if we picked up 345, you know, off a 10 knot gust, if we hit 15, then, you know, we're over speed. So we're going to have to keep the speed where it's at for now, which is a safe number. 345 is, 315 is not, or excuse me, 350 is not. I'll give you like 3 more knots. That's not going to do anything, but I'll give you 3 more knots. The approach plate is here. We're going to be coming around here from the north side of the island. We'll pick up, I don't know if that shows. Yeah, so we'll be coming around this way and then picking up MA 532. Then we'll be hitting 563, 564, 565, 566, and then at 566, we're going to go direct to 514, which is here. 566 was the same one, so we'll hit 514 here, which is 2.3 miles from Jello. And then we'll start our turn through Rosario and then land off the 1.1 mile final onto the runway. Fun fact about this field, they actually built the runway out over the ocean. Like, it's on stilts. The runway is on stilts if you look at the far end of the runway when we get there, which is definitely one of the cooler runways in the world. Oh, you know what's another challenging approach? We could do St. Bart's. The one where you have to fly over a hill and then land quickly. I don't know. That one's going to be hard because I'd have to probably fly the TBM or something smaller. Definitely a general aviation flight. But I don't. The GA physics on these airplanes in the new sim are not great yet. Doesn't mean they won't ever be, but they're not great yet. So it's most definitely a challenge to fly them right now. Be hitting Big P in 7 minutes, at which point we'll turn to Nidal. Yeah, that's the island there. We're gonna go circle the island and then come back around into land. So it'll be a big circle. We're basically making a circle and a third. So we're gonna come back around. We're basically 360 degrees away from being on base now, and then we'll have another 90-degree turn, or 45-ish degree turn. So the reason why they don't just go straight in there, if I pull this up, let me pull up this chart again. There's terrain. If they went straight in, there's terrain here. There's mountains, and people live here too. So there's elevations like straight out. Puts you 700 feet elevation at a 2-mile final, so the approach would have to be fairly steep. That and the winds are notoriously bad here, so trying to come over that hill and then potentially picking up a wind or losing a headwind, something like that, could be a problem as well. But we are getting close. Part of me is tempted to go direct Nidal, but I know that'll only save me about a minute. Which one do you guys want to see next? You want to see Paro or St. Bart's next? Drop it in the chat. Whichever one you want to see next. You can look them up if you need to. I'll type up. I'll put both in the chat right now. Getting close to Big Pie. We are about 4 minutes away. Four minutes away from Big Pie, roughly. Still looking very good on fuel. I'm just checking this out now as we're probably about 15 minutes away from starting our descent. Honestly, we could have climbed higher. I think the reason why they put us this low was because they were expecting us to take the straight in approach. But we have more than, what is that, 6 tons of, we have almost 6.5 tons of fuel left on board. So we could probably go around about 8 times if we really needed to, which I am not planning on doing. The reason why we have that much fuel is we need enough fuel to attempt 2 approaches at Madeira and then make it back to Tenerife, as it is our alternate airport. So that's the reason why we have that much fuel still left on board. Do you want to see St. Bart's? All right. We will do St. Bart's. I have a feeling that'll be a 2-part stream, though. We'll do the St. Martin approach, the Princess Juliana approach, and then take a puddle jumper over to St. Bart's, because the distance between those is not very long. Actually, we could throw Saba in the mix as well. Aaron, I know you like looking these things up, so look that up. Then that one. That'll be the track that we'll do later this week. Probably on Saturday night, if I had to take a guess. Will probably be the next stream. I won't be streaming tomorrow, I highly doubt. But we can do like a short flight from like Anguilla to St. Martin to St. Bart's, and then St. Bart's to Saba. That'll be 3 approaches in the span of like an hour that are challenging, and hopefully we'll be able to walk away from all of them. We are 8 miles away from Big Pie, Gustave III Airport. Yes, that is what it is. It's a French island. So whoever Gustave III is, it's his airport. We should be starting our Big Pie turn here shortly. Really any moment now. Inside of 5 miles. We could take that turn really at any point. The island is right here. We're very close. We're going to be landing right about there on the island, far right part of the island. 3 miles out, you going to start the turn? There we go. Direct to Nidal. Once we get to Nidal, we'll start our descent preparation checklist and get ready to bring this bird down. This approach is very similar to the LaGuardia Expressway visual, so it's closer to the Reagan River visual, just because we're turning to the right rather than turning to the left. But the turn profile is steeper than that of Reagan, and there's terrain and higher winds to worry about, so that's why this is on the list. Nidal, we have 4 minutes. Okay. So, what are our restrictions? After Nidal, we're going to be hitting Madeira 542 at 54. And we need to be down basically 10,000 feet. So we should start our descent now, actually. Get the seatbelt sign on. Gonna slow down, I know Aaron's gonna hate this, to about 320 knots. And then once we start our descent, we can put in 8,200 and have the computer descend us to that level. We'll engage auto speed as well for the FMS, or FMC rather, this is an Airbus, so it's an FMC, to descend us at the most efficient rate. Should probably be about 1,200 feet per minute, roughly. Right now, maybe 1,400 feet per minute at the most. Like I said a while ago, the transition altitude at Madeira is 5,000 feet. So once we get to... I'm actually going to write some things down while we're getting close. We have some speed restrictions. At 532, we need to be at 230. At 514, we're, I believe, supposed to be at 190. 566 is 190. So those are in as well. Going to be crossing Nidal here in a moment. We're 4.5 miles from the waypoint. That's the... Oh, there go my frames. That's the island there of Madeira. Should be making a right momentarily. Here we go. So at 542, we'll be at 8,200 feet. Looks like they may actually be having us fly over the island, which we have to make sure we have enough vertical clearance there. 10,000 feet, we will get the landing lights on. We're going to need auto brakes medium for this approach, just because it is a shorter runway. It's not a short runway per se, but the runway is... How long is the runway? Oh, you know what? We have more restrictions because we're flying the RMP-5 Zulu. So at 532 is still 230. At 526 is 195. 526 is 195. 522 is 160, and then we are approach from there. Looks like a very flat mountain. Something you'd see in the Southwest, possibly. I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. Getting close, so you guys can see how that turn's coming together. We're actually going to overfly. All right, just crossed 10,000 feet. Get the landing lights out and deployed. But yeah, 250 knots now, given our position. The runway length, which is what I was looking for. The runway length. And we're allowed to take it off at Madeira 552 on that procedure. How long's the runway? That's what I'm trying to figure out. There's a... It's 9,124 feet. So not extraordinarily long. But not horribly short either. It's a good runway for a mid-size aircraft like this one. The field itself is going to be down here. I don't know if we'll be able to see it right now as we cross over. Those clouds are at 1,100 feet. So our altitude restrictions when we cross when we cross 542, we're actually going to maintain 8,200 for a little while, and then we'll drop to 3 and then 2. Eventually. So I will actually set this to 0 and let the airplane do its thing. Yep, it caught itself. It started to descend, but it should know that... No, stop it. It should know that at this point. It should very well know that it can't do that. That's a software bug. That it should know that. But I guess it doesn't for some reason. If I can go outside for a moment. If we go this way, the field is going to be right here. It may be hard to see with the mountains and the clouds, but the field is going to be like right in this area. I don't know. I can't really show you guys right now, unfortunately. Oh, now I can't get back in the cockpit. There we go. Gonna hit some chop. You see the wind turbines? That's a new update. That looks really cool. That looks really awesome. That was a project by We Love VFR. That looks pretty real to me. Ocean textures and, you know, wind turbines and everything else considered, that looked pretty good. Yeah, the airport's down here. You're never going to be able to see it. It's on the other side of this hill. I guess you'll see it when I see it, when we get close to our approach there. Just coming up fairly soon. I am going to cut this a little bit short. I'm going to head direct to R210. So, I believe at R210 our restriction is 2,000. So we can begin descending now that we're over the actual hill, to 2,000 by about 1,000 feet per minute. Not for purposes of cutting the flight short, but we don't need to fly all the way out and around. I mean, we can, but I think we'll get the same effect from, you know, flying the circle here rather than out, you know, another 20, 30 miles in each direction. Save us a little bit of time. We're also going to slow down, get some flaps out, because we should be at 190 knots crossing that waypoint, at least according to our numbers here. I'm going to hit flaps 1. It's going to ding for a minute, and then once we get below 240, go. We're going to slow down a little bit faster now. Yeah, so when we get to, is it R210 I said I was going to? No, I think I said I was going to R30. Let me see about this. Yeah, we'll go to R210. Once we do slow to 190 knots, we can get flaps 2 out. And again, our HPA is 1024 hectopascals for the barometric setting, and 1,000 feet we'll be setting that. Speed check flaps 2. Get everybody sitting down. And I'm going to start to make the turn across. The island, I don't think we'll be able to see it until we get back around. So we're past it now. And we're hitting 5,000 feet. Barometric pressure goes to 1024. We need to descend a little bit faster. Getting close, guys. We're probably in the next 2 to 3 minutes, or no, 3 to 5 minutes. We'll be making that final turn. I am also going to slow our speed down just a little bit because we are nose down fairly steep, so we can get some flaps out to adjust for that. We can go straight across to 130. There is the island, or the back end of it, anyway. Gonna intercept on course to whichever number that is. And our terrain finally came up. A little late, but I'll take it. Shows some turbulence pockets here. At this point, we can go direct radial 210. Shouldn't be that steep of a turn. Should not be that steep of a turn. Yeah, it didn't take. It wanted me to go back this way, so I guess we're gonna do this manually. We can make the right turn now to 160. We're going to go direct to Madeira 526. See if it accepts it. It's not accepting it. Oh, now it is. Get us to 180 heading. And now we'll go direct to 526 again. Wait for the line to snap over, and then I will hit direct. There we go. Now we should be, there we go. Now we're going to be direct to 526. .522, we need to be at 160. All right. We're getting close, guys. This is the edge of the island, as you guys can see. Where we took off from at Tenerife North is the nearest suitable alternate airport. So if we couldn't, let's say we did this approach 2 or 3 times and the weather minimums didn't improve for us, we would have to then fly all the way back to where we came from, just to give you guys a reference of how, you know, remote this place is. And you're not going to see, I guess we're not going to see the runway until we start that turn. All right, landing checklist just popped up. For anybody who wasn't here when I was talking about it earlier, make sure you check out our Twitter page. There's a poll active now regarding our future flights for next week and beyond, so make sure you go vote on that. We want your input. But we are getting close. The airport is right here, like literally right here. I don't think you'll be able to see it. Maybe it's like right here. Maybe we'll get a break in the cloud here. I still don't see. Maybe this is it. I think that's it. Yeah, there you go. That's the airport right there. So we'll be, we're getting ready. We're getting close. At 5:22, we need to begin to descend on the 3-degree arc. Oh, whoa, hello. I don't know what the heck that was. It all of a sudden sent me to 5:30. If you say so. Yes, well, I say so. I'm going to slow down now to 160 knots so we can get flaps 3 out and get the landing gear down. Finish the landing checklist. Get the flight director out as well. Gear down. Flaps 3. Aircraft wants to pitch up, so we'll give some down trim. It appears we have a trim runaway. And we can slow to our final approach speed of 128 knots, which is rather slow, but honestly, for these kind of approaches, the slower the better. Once we get to 26 here in a moment, we're going to start descending. Full flaps. And we're going to begin the turn. Flying the flight director at the moment. Okay, and it wants me to make that turn. I'm going to turn off terrain because I'm going to turn off weather because I know exactly, I shouldn't say exactly, I know loosely where I am geographically. At 520, which is the next one we're going to hit, we need to be at 1,200 feet. We're going to bypass 22 just because we made that turn a little bit sharp, which is okay. I'm hoping this is a one-stop shop. It would be better if these clouds weren't here, though, because then I could actually turn and look. Getting a nice tailwind from behind at 14, or is that a 4? I think it's 14 knots we have tailwind right now. So we'll have a crosswind from right to left if these winds hold when we hit final. And we can nose up a little and just hold altitude here until we have a visual on the actual runway, which I believe I now do. This is going to be my flight controls here in a moment. My airplane. Runway is right here. I have the runway in sight. So we can continue now on the visual. Just going to hold here at 1,000 feet. Until we get I'm going to check our approach speed one more time because this does feel a little slow. 127, okay, 127. So they want me 1 knot slower. This is the airport right here. We have that crosswind at 5 knots. So it's not as severe anymore, but it is still a crosswind. That is look like a very dangerous looking road. It like completely is going sideways, but that's alright. That's beside the point. We're a little low, which is okay. We need to real quick hit this button so the FMA doesn't yell at me, and we need to actually get our nose and turn off lights on as well. Now here's the turn.
100 above, 100 above, 100 above.
I hear you. Yeah, now it's turning into a cross headwind. If he did just say minimums, can continue.
Minimum.
Continue. We're a little low, which this should help with. Now we're right on. 2 red, 2 white. You're all right.
300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10.
Float, 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 float. All right. Reverser's green. Coming through 60 knots, reversers off, manual braking. That's pretty good. Winds were helping us out there. Winds were definitely helping us out there. Yeah, no left turns. Actually, that's not true. We're going to have to make one left turn to park at the terminal. Landing lights can come off. Runway turn-off lights can now come off. Nose light to taxi. And the APU bleed and master can go on as well. Oh, there are my clapping emojis. I was waiting for them. Flaps can come up. Speed brakes, check retracted. TCAS is in TA only. Thank you, thank you. Flight director can come off as we reset our instruments here. Seems like a nice day. Oh, that's another. You guys remember what happened in Seattle? I'm happy we were going this way and not the other way. That would have been a disaster. We make it this far. I see my phone's now getting cell service now that we're back on the ground. Aeropuerto da Madeira. Oh! We hit another bump. Let's see, should we park next to the Airbus? Yeah, let's park next to this guy here. Nose light goes off. The brakes seem like they're all or nothing today. Alright. Park brake on. Manual brakes released. Engines off. Seatbelt sign off. I still can't figure out how to prevent that from happening. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Madeira. We have made it in one piece, in one landing. I think that was probably the best of our landing challenges yet. It was also, I will say, it was the most cooperative, weather-wise, we've had, you know, of all the approaches. But nonetheless, that one still went very, very well. Just getting everything shut down here. And we're pretty good on the taxiway alignment too. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining. Make sure you come back. I'll try to make it Saturday, but I'll keep you guys posted. Make sure you check the Twitter for all of our updates. We will do the Caribbean circuit, and then I see Paro, and Paro is also on the list. So those will be the next two. The Caribbean 3 being St. Martin, Saba, and St. Bart's. And then we will do Paro after that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Follow us on the page. The support means the world to us. And between now and the next stream, which will probably be Saturday, this is Delta 1661. We'll see ya.